Plaintiff Jayla DeRose says the defendant is her sister. And after an argument over cereal, the two of them got into a fight. And Jayla claims the defendant kicked the bumper off of her car. She's suing for the damages. Defendant Ashley Coley admits that the argument started over cereal, but says she's hormonal because she's pregnant, and she does not believe she caused excessive damage to Jayla's car. She's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
All right, so to begin with, my sister, me and her, we got in contact through Job Corps. We weren't aware of the fact that we were sisters.
How did you become aware?
Basically, with Job Corps, the counselors and the teachers, we were real close. And so basically what they said was, they was like, one of them approached me. She was like, is this your sister? Y'all both have the same father on the same birth certificate. And I was like, I don't know her. And then they was just like, go talk to her. So I waited till about dinner in the cafeteria, and I went and I asked her, and that's when she basically confirmed. She was like, it's my dad too, but I don't know him. I said, I don't talk to him either.
And that was when?
This was like around like 2019, the year.
Okay, how have things gone since then?
Since then, basically me and my sister, we had basically moved in together. Moved in together because she was at odds with her situation. When we moved in together, me and her had got into an altercation, and the altercation over cereal. Basically.
Over cereal?
Yes.
What happened?
She was mad because basically with the cereal, she's pregnant. My sister is real particular about her food, and she don't play about her food, and I understand that, but sometimes she gets to get real mad and really ready to fight over food. So basically, long story short, when me and her ended up fighting, basically when she came and she said something about who ate her cereal. And I said, I don't know who ate the cereal. I said, we had company the day before, maybe one of them did it. She was like, no, because they left at this time and you had it. I know you was here and it was this much in the box before you left. So I know for a fact you had my cereal.
Yeah, they didn't want
so I'm like, okay.
Got me here in case it's about cereal. Is that all this is about, cereal?
No, basically after me and her ended up fighting.
It's about something else? So I thought car damage. It's about the cars too?
Yes, sir.
You ain't gonna make me hear no case about no bowl of cereal. All right, go on with your cereal story. Y'all, so what happened with the cereal?
So basically, long story short, after that, when we were fighting and everything, basically she ran up on me first. I didn't want to fight my sister.
Let me hear it from her. I just don't believe this. Go ahead, young lady.
Basically, like she said, we did meet in Job Corps, and I called my mom to confirm that my dad did have other children, basically, because he was never really there, so I didn't know. So me and her became real close through Job Corps, and me and my mom were like going at odds because I am pregnant.
Over cereal?
No.
Your mother? You fight your mother over cereal?
No. We were basically arguing because I am pregnant and she doesn't like who I'm pregnant by, so that was like an issue. So I was like, can I come stay with you? Because you got your own house and I'm working on getting my own house. So we went to live together, and yes, it did start over cereal, but we was already like at odds anyway because I am pregnant, so emotions are high. So we were already arguing before that, so the cereal just like escalated it. And
have you went to the doctor about your emotions being so high?
Yes. Legally I am bipolar, but because I am pregnant, I can't take the medicine for it right now. So the emotions are like all rushing back.
You're not allowed to take your medicine anymore during pregnancy? Is that what you're saying?
That's really what my doctor told me. I had to even stop taking my blood pressure medicine while I'm pregnant.
What else you want me to know?
Basically, I'm suing her for emotional distress because this pregnancy would be my third pregnancy, but the other two pregnancies I have had miscarriages. And for me and her to be fighting while I am pregnant and knowing that I'm high risk, that really just like put me in a situation where I had to be in the hospital for 2 days after we was fighting.
What did she do to you? She attacked you?
I kind of got in her.
Yeah, I know you did. All right, let's hear about your car damages. What happened with a car?
She put her foot through my car.
And this was after the...
This was during after the cereal incident. She said take her to her people's house. So I was like, okay, I'm finna drop you off. Before I dropped her off, she proceeded to go towards my car, and I said, don't touch my car. She went up to my car anyway and said, what you gonna do? And she basically kicked the whole bumper off my car. Like, kicked the whole bumper off my car. The whole bumper.
I heard you the first time. I know you're trying to embarrass the woman, but I'm not buying into that. So you can stop trying to be funny about that.
So I know for a fact you had my cereal.
Yeah, anyway.
So I'm like, okay.
Got me here in case it's about cereal. Is that all this is about, cereal?
No, basically.
This is about a car, too?
Yes, sir.
You ain't gonna make me hear no case about no bowl of cereal.
Defendant Ashley Coley is being sued by her sister, who claims after an argument over cereal, Ashley kicked the bumper off her car.
And with regard to the aftermath, what has been said? Did she admit she was wrong? Did she say, I'm going to pay you back? What has happened since that time?
She admitted to her wrongs and then wrote a promissory note.
Okay. How much did she agree to repay?
The whole amount. She said that she was going to do.
The whole amount was how much?
$2,536.
Okay, the exact amount you're suing for. Did she give you a time in which she repay?
She said that she didn't give me an exact time. She said, it's on the note. I have the note right here.
Okay, what page is that? It's your evidence.
Here it is.
Oh, then she sure did your car in.
That's page 7.
With her
I'm sorry.
foot, ma'am. This doesn't look like something done with anybody's foot. No, ma'am. Did you hit her? Did you kick her car with your foot?
No.
You have your estimate, ma'am?
Yes, it's right here.
What page?
That is page. Let me go to it now.
I see it now. Estimate. On front, includes. Have you seen her car lately? Did you see it when she alleged that it was damaged?
Yeah, but I was like, when I kicked it, it didn't do all of that.
She's lying.
That's all you have to say is it didn't do all of that.
She's lying.
I gotta go through all this instead of you looking at it and saying, contesting it and saying, I didn't do that part, it couldn't have fell off, because you're admitting to kicking it. So I don't know why you can't better convince me that this occurred under different circumstances. You would think after seeing this, knowing that you didn't do this type of damage, one foot could not on both sides like that, you would think that you would say to her, I didn't do that damage. Why would you say I did that? I only kicked it here. And you say it did all that. No, it didn't do all that. So you're not contesting it like a person that believes they didn't do this. You're talking like a person that did do it. And I'm trying to give you the benefit of not having been capable of causing this much damage with one foot. But it sounds like you're unable to defend yourself on that. So I am convinced that you caused all that damage with one foot, and you have no defense as to what you said to her when she showed you a bumper that appeared had been severely damaged in another way. You said nothing when she said, see girl, see all the damage you committed? You see you did that? I don't know. So for that today, you're going to have to pay. I believe her. She has convinced me that you did that. And with regard to your emotional distress for fighting, you've admitted that you have stopped taking your meds for bipolar. And one of the symptoms of bipolar is rage and outbursts that leads to violence. So your claim is dismissed and yours is granted. Have a good day.
You ain't gang still. I still don't like you. Let roll.
Had nothing to say to her. She gonna be her at the end of the day. She got attitude. She gonna always have attitude.
Plaintiff Eric Simpkins was best friends with the defendant, and he agreed to be Eric's best man. But he failed to show up at the wedding and then disappeared for 14 years. Eric claims when they reconnected, he loaned the defendant $5,000, but he has yet to repay, so Eric's suing. Defendant Darrell Robinson has known Eric for over 40 years, and he says they chased a lot of women back in their day. Darrell claims recently 3 of his family members have been dealing with severe health issues, and he's been struggling to stay afloat.
Start with you.
Well, I've known the defendant Darrell for many years. We go way back. We were college buddies at one point.
Where?
And UICC at the time, which is now UIC. It used to be called Circle.
Yeah.
Right here in Chicago.
Okay.
And soon after we became roommates and best of friends. I mean, as roommates, you couldn't ask for a better roommate. I think he'd say the same thing as well. And we did everything together as far as, just hanging out and just being close to each other and protecting each other, basically, right? He's been there for me. He works at the time, for the Chicago Police Department. I was working for Payne Weber at the Options Exchange here in Chicago. And best of friends.
Yeah,
right?
that's big money. You're down there with the big money boys.
I was there with them. I'll just say that.
And you all haven't had problems at all for the most part. Not even over him going after the same woman that he know you're interested in?
Well, we can't talk about those types of things, Judge, at the show, I don't believe. But things happen.
Right.
Best of friends.
Glad to know that's what happens with best of friends. Look at her, man. I'm gonna go holler at her. I'm gonna holler at her. You heard I saw her first. I'm the one pointed it out to you. But you know that girl ain't interested in you. I seen her looking at me. She wasn't looking at you. Oh, I know that was happening. Y'all don't have to admit it.
No, not at all. Like
really?
I said, we help each other out.
None of that.
We help each other out in that regard, for real.
Y'all never competed for the same woman in college or in your profession?
No.
Well, y'all real good friends.
Yeah.
All right. Sir, give me some background from your standpoint.
Well, during our 20s, we did chase a lot of women together.
All right.
We chased our share down, caught quite a few, and it was good times back then. Eric and I, we've known each other for 40 plus years, and geographically, we both relocated a couple of times, so we separated, didn't see one another for a while, but we come back together. Every time we came back together, it was just like yesterday. So, like I say, 40 plus years, and the 20s were a wild time.
Yeah.
Not the 1920s, but our 20s.
Yeah, sure was. Y'all never competed for the same woman in college or in your profession?
No.
Y'all real good friends.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, during our 20s, we did chase a lot of women together.
All right.
We chased our share down, caught quite a few, and it was good times back then. The 20s were a wild time.
Yeah.
Not the 1920s, but our 20s.
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah.
Defendant Darrell Robinson is being sued by his former friend, who claims after Darrell agreed to be his best man, he failed to show up at the wedding and disappeared for 14 years.
All right, and tell me, what age group are you all in? How old are you?
62.
52?
62.
62? Yeah, you were in those wild 80s, just like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah, the wild 20s was the wild 80s.
Yes.
Roaring 80s.
Yeah.
You were in law school. You weren't wild.
In the 80s, early 80s, I was still in college. I didn't graduate from college to 83 undergrad.
Okay.
And so then I went to law school at night, but I was a lot more busy after getting in law school. But undergrad, until Linda shut me down, I was the man.
If I don't mind to furthermore discuss about how we were in our background, we were so much good friends that when I was getting married, I asked him to be my best man because I couldn't think of a better person to be my best man.
Yeah.
About a week before the wedding, we last spoke, and I was talking about the speech I was going to make and last details, and that was the last I heard of him for the next 14 years. He wasn't at my wedding. He didn't show up. I never asked him why.
He committed to it and never showed?
No, he never showed.
But he committed to it.
He committed to it, yes.
You expected him?
Yes, he wasn't there. I didn't speak to him for 14 years.
You got anything to say?
No, he's absolutely right. I was disappointing to him, but
And how old were you guys?
like 40, I think. Yes.
That's 40.
You were 40?
Yep. I got married late, can I say.
I was
First
about
time,
to
only
make
time.
my example because I had the same example. I lost a close lifelong friend.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the same reason. I've probably seen him 5 times since then. We were together every single day from age 5 to age until then, which was 21. Well, no, and not every single day, because we went separate ways after high school. He went in a different spiral, and I went in a different direction, but I was still supposed to be in his wedding, and it was an impulsive move. Linda was going to Jamaica, and she was going to be wearing a bathing suit on the beach.
Yeah, that's tough.
In Jamaica, and I had only known her for several months. That was one of the worst moves I made, and lost that friendship. So, folks, young men, ladies, on these big, big days, don't mess that up. Don't mess that up, because you will have a permanent loss of something that's very valuable and precious. And of course, I invited him over. He's been over to my house since I've been on television, and we've a couple of things or another, but it's certainly not the same.
Wow.
And we missed 22 years before I ever saw him again.
Wow.
Yeah, horrible mistake. All right, and so horrible mistake.
Well, yeah, well, to that, sir, I got to tell you, though, that I do suffer from depression, and depression is real.
Absolutely. Understood on your behalf. Understood. You heard him, and that would be a very valid, because I study mental health a lot, and that is a very valid reason for not being able to make it. He didn't want to come out the house. He didn't want to get out of bed.
And I understood that.
Or talk.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do anything but sit up there and look at the wall and think about the worst things in the world and feel uncomfortable in his own skin. Isn't that what comes with it all? I don't have depression. I've never suffered from it, but as I said, I study it. All right, and tell me about the loan.
Well, at one point, Ron gave me a call. It was a pretty desperate call one time. I was back in 2019. And he said that his house is going to be foreclosed on if he doesn't get $5,000 very soon. So I figured calling me, I was pretty much his last resort. And being the brother that I am to him and he is to me, I had no problem loaning him the money. So I, as evidence, I have, sir, on page 1, the contract that I wrote up for him to agree on. And it states the terms of repayment, how it's going to be repaid. And
$500
yes.
every 16th and 30th of each month.
Right.
What did happen?
Well, he was making payments, regular payments, up until he owed about $3,000. So he paid $2,000 off, but then stopped paying and checked. That was maybe I don't have that specifically, but it was supposed to maybe like a half a year or so later.
6
So he made several
months or
payments.
so later.
Some payments were later, or after 2 weeks. So, and I accepted whatever payment he had.
So what were the? How did that go in terms of you calling him and discussing it?
It was no problem at all. He was making the payments. It wasn't $500 every 2 weeks, but it was something.
Yeah, but when he's okay.
Yeah.
He had make here and there.
Right here and there, up to he owed about $3,000.
What was the communication then?
Nothing at all. Just
reach out and he ignored?
Reached out, he dipped. No phone calls, no return phone calls, ghosted me, right. I went by his house, and one time, I visit Chicago a lot, went by his house and saw his car, they rang the doorbell and no answer. So we were so much good friends that when I was getting married, I asked him to be my best man, because I couldn't think of a better person to be my best man. That was the last I heard of him for the next 14 years. He wasn't at my wedding, he didn't show up, I never asked him why.
He committed to it and never showed?
No, he never showed.
But he committed to it?
He committed to it, yes.
You expected him?
Yes, he wasn't there. I didn't speak to him for 14 years.
You got anything to say?
No, he's absolutely right. I was disappointed to him.
Defendant Darrell Robinson is being sued by his former friend, who claims after Darrell agreed to be his best man, he failed to show up at the wedding and disappeared for 14 years.
Sir?
Okay, yeah, I didn't know anything about you coming to Chicago, coming by the house.
Okay.
Then again, too, if you don't call me, if I don't know you're coming, I'm not going to my door. I'm just one of those type of people.
Well, you weren't answering the phone.
Well, yeah, Eric did call me and say, when we made the arrangements, my wife takes care of all the bills in the house. And she said this, I told her at the time, you told Eric, I said, that's not a realistic payment amount. But she was assuring
Let
me.
me stop you there, because I try that sometimes when people ask to borrow money. I say, Linda, you got to call her. She controls all the money. And they actually call. I don't think they're going to call her.
Yeah.
I say, I can't do it. She still call her directly, so.
Yeah, but anyway, exactly. But long or short, I didn't know she hadn't made the papers, so Eric called me. I said, man, I didn't even know. I didn't know. Then my world just collapsed. Like, my son suffered a life-altering injury. My mother had a double mastectomy, and my wife is seriously ill now with heart and kidney problems. So everything just kind of imploded. That, along with depression, I was overwhelmed. And I don't know, Jan. I got.
Why are you telling that? Did you tell him?
That's the problem. That's what I was saying is that we wouldn't be here now if I would have come out my shell and said something to him then. But anger, pride, depression, all these things wouldn't allow it.
He's still a friend to me. I mean, he would still be my friend being honest like this. He didn't come in here and try and deny it and twist around or act like he is paid more than he did, and I gave it to him in cash, Your Honor. He didn't do any of that. He said, yep, I owe him, and I should have been more communicative. So, all right, $3,000 is your judgment. You all continue. We'll pray for your family. God, we ask you to heal them and provide them with comfort. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Love you, man.
Hey, back at you, man. Talk later.
Okay.
All right, we're good.
Thank you.
Just don't pick me up.
Plaintiff Rebecca Daniels and her daughter, defendant April Beck, say they are both addicted to pain pills. And recently, April started abusing fentanyl. Both Rebecca and April are desperate for some help. And Rebecca's suing her daughter for an unpaid loan.
Start with you.
I've always had a really close relationship with my children. I was blessed to be able to have a very strong relationship. It's been kind of tested these last few years with, I was in a car wreck a little over 10 years ago, tore the joint in my hip, a lot of wear and tear on my body, did a lot of damage, and I was put on medication. And it's been kind of tested over the last few years due to opioid usage. I started self-medicating and then overusing, in addition to self-medicating. And I'm sorry.
Take your time.
So it's been kind of strained the last few years, but I was blessed prior to that, that having a very good relationship with my kids. I was really hoping to possibly, I've heard you talk a lot about helping folks coming to this point here.
But first, let me ask, you say you began using pain pills 10 years ago?
Yes, sir.
And how long did the pain last from your...
I still deal with, I have a lot of pain. I've got 5 discs that are pretty bad in my back and hip problems that are, so I've continued to use it. Of course, the pain is nowhere near what it was.
Plaintiff Rebecca Daniels and her daughter, defendant April Beck, both admit that they are addicted to pain pills. And April claims she recently started abusing fentanyl.
The surgery didn't correct it?
I do need surgery, but I have not had surgery on my back. I've got 2 discs that are bad, and then 3, the way they describe it, they're rearing their ugly heads.
And how long ago did they tell you that?
That was about 6 years ago.
And so instead of getting surgery, you stayed on the pain pills?
Well, I did. I worked for a company for about 20 years and ended up leaving. So I was without insurance. And so surgery took a backseat to that.
How were you paying for your pain pills? When they were prescribed to you, you were paying without insurance?
I had, when I was taking them without insurance, I had pretty much stopped, but it was almost where I wasn't just, I dipped into my retirement to get any extra money. Whatever I had left from 401k from my job, borrowing.
All for the pain you were experiencing?
Yes, sir.
Have you been to a pain management clinic and they've given you other ways of dealing with your pain? Because all you're telling me today is that your use is still for pain. So what's your plan?
I'd like to stop taking the opioids, even try acupuncture, and I need to, my kids and my grandchildren, they deserve a full time.
What has the doctor said? What plan has the doctors given you? Surgery?
Yes, I was terrified, and I did try alternatives like physical therapy.
What were you terrified about? What were you terrified about with surgery?
Being, if they did something wrong and something that couldn't be reversed or fixed. And the surgery on my hip that I had, it seemed to make things worse. And I thought that it would make it worse, potentially worse. Hindsight, I wish I would have had it done. And now it's starting over with MRIs and I did, and I had left it out. I didn't intend to. I overdosed in 2019.
You almost died?
Yes, from what I understand, I did. I flatlined.
And what do you think, sir? What do you think surgery would do that's worse than that?
Good point.
No, there's no coming back from that. Surgery would definitely be a better option.
And young lady, what's your life like?
I had never taken a painkiller before until after I had my daughter, and I started, it very quickly got out of control for me. I was getting it from my mother every day for free for a couple of years. And then it kept telling myself one a day, it's just one a day, I was lying to myself, and I recently moved on to something different, started using fentanyl, and that's even harder to stop. I've been able to stop on my own taking before, but I've never been able to stay off of it. I'm sorry.
Plaintiff Rebecca Daniels and her daughter, defendant April Beck, both admit that they are addicted to pain pills. And April claims she recently started abusing fentanyl.
Anything else you want to tell me before we get to the loan?
I feel like a failure as a mother and as a daughter. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've hurt a lot of people. And I'm really tired of being tired. if that makes sense. It's a lot. I want to, be better for my family and be better for my partner, my daughter, my parents. All the way around. I haven't been able to really save much of anything because of my addiction, and it's just made the last few years very rough, not only on me but everybody around me. And I've been lying to myself that I've been maintaining it or managed. So that's not true. Obviously there is no maintaining or managing with anything like that. It's caused a lot of challenges over the last 4.5 years, and I want everything to stop.
Couple of questions. Did your doctor prescribe painkiller for you?
I was sent home from the hospital with painkillers. Mm-hmm. I've been prescribed them before, for simple things, but it's never been, for the most part, no, sir. No, Your Honor.
Okay. You were sent home with them. How long were they to last? What dosage? 12 pill for 12 days for? What did
it was, I believe it was 2 weeks.
Yeah. And so you weren't hooked that quick?
It was pretty quick for me.
Particularly, it is with mama giving them to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what I'm getting to.
I actually traded mine with her because it didn't feel like it was working, and she offered me one of hers, and so I gave her what was prescribed to me. I gave them to her, and then we swapped out, and then I continued to use them after that.
Well, Ms. Daniels, are you using fentanyl as well?
I have, yes. I got to where yes, I have.
You all have friends that have died from overdose of fentanyl?
No, but I have someone close that recently, she didn't die, but she did, she almost died. She overdosed. And it was a mixture of, I'm not sure exactly what all that it was, but fentanyl was part of what it was that she took.
Cocaine and fentanyl?
I'm not sure.
Not sure? Okay, because that's the rage among these young folks, and they folks think they're buying cocaine and it's mixed fentanyl in it, and they're dying thinking that all they're taking is a couple of blows of cocaine and not knowing that it's mixed with fentanyl, and they're overdosing and dying from the fentanyl, which is the most deadly drug on the marketplace.
I overdosed in March on fentanyl. I didn't know that was what I took, and I overdosed in March from that as well.
Plaintiff Rebecca Daniels and her daughter, defendant April Beck, both admit that they are addicted to pain pills, and April claims she recently started abusing fentanyl.
You all going to accept inpatient treatment? You going to accept some help as well, Ms. Beck, April?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. You all. But you have a child? How old is your child?
She's 4.5.
Okay, well, the therapists in the clinics, they know how to accommodate recovering women with children, so inpatient or otherwise, I'm sure. So it'll work out. So I'm glad that you all are committed to change, and hopefully you'll be a positive example to others. With regard to the loan, When was that to be repaid, Miss Daniels?
When she got her taxes, when they came in. And her 2018 taxes when they came in 2019.
Okay. All right. Well, young lady, do you agree that you owe or not?
I disagree that I owe the whole amount. I do acknowledge that I had an agreement. I've contributed financially in her household numerous times over the last couple of years, as far as providing groceries and helping out with certain bills, but I've never said, I'd take it off the loan or anything like that, but I've pretty much made sure that she's eaten over the course of the last couple of years. Had food in her house, and for her niece whenever she had her.
Well, she could have fed herself with her $3,500. I don't know what you mean. You've had making sure she's eating.
And then
she can eat a whole lot if you give her $3,500 back. What do you mean make sure she eat? Why you just didn't give her money?
I don't have there's no excuse. I ended up having an issue
all right.
With my taxes, and
okay.
Instead of
I guess the point I'm making, if there was no agreement to offset your purchases of food and groceries against what you owed, you should have let that be known. You should have said, Mom, here's some food. Take that off my tab. Mom, here's this. Take that off my $3,500. Because you said you have been the one making sure that she ate. Well, take that off the tab, because now she's full, but you're broke.
Yes, Your Honor.
She's full and you're in debt. So she gets a double benefit. She get her money back and food as interest.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff, and good luck to you both. I'm sure you're going to do fine, and I'm going to order that the check not be granted to your mom until you all come out of rehab. How about that?
Great
Till you
idea.
come out of inpatient therapy, all right? $3,500 is your judgment. Have a good day, ladies. Good luck. I look forward to hearing back from you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor.
Yeah. And we're gonna get better, and yeah, we'll get through it. Get through it together.